So this lecture has the file attached to it that you can open. So open up the file called 2015 Orders by Customer. And you'll find that the keystrokes that we use, the shortcut keys, work quite a bit differently when there is content in the worksheet. I've clicked on cell A1. Remember when we did Control right arrow and it went to the right edge of the spreadsheet? Let's do that again. Control right arrow. It goes all the way out to the end just like it did before. Now come back with a Control left arrow and now try Control down. Remember we did that next. Didn't get you too far, did it? It went through that blank cell A2 and it stopped on cell A3. Now try it again. Do a Control down arrow again. So now we're at cell 2427. What this has done is it's gone through, since we were on a cell that had content in it, any kind of content, it went through all the cells that it saw that had content, and it stopped, if I use the down arrow, it stopped just before the next blank cell. Now, if I do a Control down arrow again, I do go all the way to the bottom. If I do a Control up, it goes through all the blank cells and stops on the very first cell that has any content. You might wonder why. Why are you telling me this, Bruce? This becomes really critical when you're using your spreadsheet. This is one of the main shortcuts that will speed you up. Now I'm going to do Control Home, and this will be on the handout, all these control keys. There's one more that I use. Whenever I look at a spreadsheet I've never seen before, the very first thing I do is I hold Control and I use the end, END, it's just below the home, Control End, and what that does is it goes to the bottom rightmost corner of the spreadsheet. Now, what does that mean? That means I'm in cell M2427. That means there's never been anything in this spreadsheet beyond the M column. There's never been anything below 2427, that row. Or if there has, it was deleted and then the spreadsheet was saved. So it gives me a picture of how big this spreadsheet is. Now go ahead and do Control Home again, and let's say we just opened this worksheet and we wanted to put something at the bottom. We wanted to add another customer, let's say. Again, most people, and I see it over and over again, they scroll forever. You know, with what you learned with the shortcut keys, you could just do Control down 2 times and you would be at the bottom. If I do a Control up, let's say I wanted to go to the right edge and put something like a total formula in the N column. I know from the structure of my spreadsheet I can just do a Control right arrow to get there. You know, the 2 penalties of not doing it with the keyboard shortcut, there's really 2 penalties. The first one is it takes you a long time to scroll, especially if we were doing it down to the end of the last row. But the other penalty is that you have to be looking at the screen. If this was really wide, a couple hundred columns, I'd have to be sitting here looking at my mouse going. By knowing how I built my spreadsheet, if I do a Control right, I don't even have to look at the screen. I know I'm on the right edge, or I know I'm on the bottom edge. So these are some of the things I'm going to be hammering on throughout the course. I want you to go slow in the beginning and learn these keystrokes so that you can go fast later on. Before we wrap up this lecture, let me just mention one more way to move. And again, a lot of people forget about this. It's the F5 function key. If I press F5, it brings up a little go-to box, and if I type B1200 and I press enter, it will take me right to that cell. So we'll be using the F5 also, and especially when we get into how you can name cells, individual locations on your spreadsheet, and then you can just press F5, type the name, and press enter, and you'll be there. So again, shortcuts, that's the key to getting good with Excel. In the next lecture, we'll go through making multiple worksheets and how you can rename them, move them around, delete them. So I'll see you in the next lecture.